Hi, my name is Robert, and this is Broken America, the show where we pull back the curtain on the industries that are systematically picking your pocket and calling it progress. Today, we are talking about your washing machine, the one sitting in your laundry room right now. That cost you $800, $1,000, maybe $1,200. Because here is what the manufacturer already knows and is counting on you never finding out. They built it to die, and they built it to die on a schedule. The golden era, what washing machines used to be. In 1972, a man named Dan Cooper walked into a retail store and bought a Maytag washing machine. He paid a fair price for it. He brought it home, hooked it up, and it started washing his clothes. It has not stopped since. 54 years later, that machine is still running. One motor replacement in half a century of daily use. His grandchildren have probably washed their clothes in that machine. Think about that for a moment. A single appliance outlasting careers, marriages, and entire decades of American history. That is not a miracle. That is just what machines used to be. From the 1950s through the late 1980s, the American washing machine was a monument to mechanical common sense. The companies building them, Maytag, Speed Queen, Whirlpool in its original form, and General Electric before financiers got hold of it, were manufacturers in the truest sense of the word. They employed engineers who had grown up taking engines apart. They built machines with steel transmissions containing steel gears bathed in oil. They used mechanical timers, which are nothing more than a simple clock connected to a series of electrical switches. If the timer broke, you bought a new timer for $12 and you screwed it in yourself on a Saturday afternoon. The drum sat on a set of bearings. Bearings wear out. That is expected. That is physics. So they made the bearings accessible. You could pull the machine apart with basic tools, press out the old bearings, press in the new ones, and you were back in business for $20 and 2 hours of your weekend. The machines were designed with the assumption that the person who owned them might someday want to fix them. What a radical concept. The repairman in those days was a legitimate profession, not a guy who showed up, poked around for 10 minutes, and handed you a quote for $700 while slowly shaking his head. A real technician who carried parts on his truck, who knew the machine intimately, who could diagnose a problem by the sound it made. Appliance repair was a trade. It was passed down. It kept families employed for generations. And then something shifted. It did not happen overnight. It never does. It happened in boardrooms and engineering meetings over the course of about 2 decades, roughly from the mid-1980s through the early 2000s. The decision that was made, and make no mistake, it was a decision, not an accident, was that a machine built to last 50 years was a business problem. Think about that from a corporate perspective. If every American buys a washing machine in 1972 and that machine runs until 2022, the manufacturer only sells you one washing machine in 50 years. That is a terrible business model if your goal is perpetual revenue. The solution was elegant in its cynicism. Stop building machines that last 50 years and start building machines that last 5. Do it gradually enough that no single generation notices the decline. Dress the new machines up in stainless steel and touchscreens so they look more advanced than the old ones. And make sure that when they break, the repair is more expensive than a replacement. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a business strategy. And your laundry room is the evidence. The sealed tub conspiracy. Let me tell you about the single most dishonest engineering decision in the history of home appliances. It is called the sealed tub, and it is the reason your washing machine is now a disposable item. Here is how a traditional machine works. The drum that holds your clothes spins inside a larger outer tub that holds the water. That drum connects to a shaft, and that shaft rides on bearings. Those bearings take a serious beating. Years of spinning wet laundry at hundreds of revolutions per minute eventually wear them down. You know when they are going because the machine starts making a grinding, rumbling noise like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. If you have heard it, you know exactly what I am talking about. On a machine built before the corporate accountants took over the engineering meetings, this was a non-event. The outer tub was steel. It was bolted together. You could access the bearings, order a replacement kit for $20, and have the machine running quietly again by Sunday afternoon. A repair technician could do it in under an hour. Then, Whirlpool and Samsung discovered plastic welding. They took the outer tub, the part that used to be steel, and bolted together, and rebuilt it out of two plastic halves, fused permanently shut, using ultrasonic welding. High-frequency sound waves melted plastic into a single unit that cannot be separated without destroying it, and they molded the bearings directly inside that sealed shell. When the bearing wears out now, you cannot reach it. You need an entirely new tub assembly. The part alone runs $350 to $500. Labor adds another $250 to $300. Your total repair bill on an $800 machine lands somewhere between $600 and $700. The repairman looks at you. You look at the repairman. And he says the four words that define the modern economy. It is not worth fixing. This was not an engineering evolution. Steel is stronger, more durable, and more heat-resistant than plastic in every measurable way. This decision was not made in the engineering department. It was made in the finance department. Someone ran the numbers and figured out that a bearing you cannot replace is a customer you cannot lose. They engineered out your ability to repair the machine deliberately, and then they put a 1-year warranty on it and called it progress. The computer chip invasion. Your washing machine does not need a computer. I want to be very clear about that before we go any further. The mechanical process of washing clothes involves filling a tub with water, spinning a drum, draining the water, and spinning again. This is not a complicated sequence of events. A wind-up clock from 1950 could manage this operation without breaking a sweat. And yet, if you walk into any appliance store in America today, virtually every washing machine on the floor has a motherboard, a printed circuit board with microprocessors, capacitors, and soldered connections, a computer in your laundry room. Why? The manufacturers will tell you it is for convenience. Customizable wash cycles, delay start features, load sensing technology that weighs your clothes and adjusts the water level accordingly. App connectivity, so you can start your laundry from the parking lot of a grocery store, which I assure you nobody has ever needed to do. But here is the question they do not answer in the brochure. What happens to a circuit board in a laundry room environment? A laundry room is one of the most hostile environments in a residential building for sensitive electronics. It is hot. It is humid. Steam rises from every load and settles on every surface. The machine itself vibrates aggressively during the spin cycle, sending constant mechanical shock through every component. And the detergent and fabric softener in the air create a chemical residue that settles on circuit board traces and causes corrosion over time. Electronics engineers design for stable, cool, dry, vibration-free environments. Server rooms, climate-controlled offices, The inside of a well-ventilated computer case. They do not design for the corner of a basement next to a dryer vent. The result is predictable to anyone who has ever held a soldering iron. The thermal cycling, the repeated heating and cooling as the machine runs and rests, causes the solder joints on the control board to develop microfractures. The vibration accelerates the process. The humidity corrodes the traces. And one day, without any warning, the machine simply stops responding. The drum will not spin. The display goes dark. Or worse, and this is more common than you would think, the machine fills with water and refuses to drain, leaving your clothes sitting in a cold, soapy soup at 2 in the morning. You call the repair technician. He comes out, plugs in his diagnostic tool, and tells you the control board is dead. The replacement board costs $250 to $400, plus labor, plus the service call fee you already paid just to have him show up and tell you bad news. And here is the part that truly ought to make you furious. Manufacturers discontinue the control boards for their machines within 5 to 7 years of the model being sold. This is not a secret. It is standard industry practice. Your machine is 8 years old and the board fails. The manufacturer no longer makes that board. The aftermarket suppliers do not make it either because the production run was too small to justify the tooling cost. Your machine is now a large, heavy piece of non-functional sculpture taking up space in your laundry room. They put a computer in your washing machine, knowing that the computer would fail before the mechanical components did, knowing that replacement parts would become unavailable, knowing that the repair would be economically unviable, and knowing that the only logical response would be to buy a new machine. This is the genius and the evil of the modern appliance industry in a single product. They took something simple and made it complicated. They took something rebuildable and made it disposable. And they convinced you it was an upgrade. The efficiency regulation trap. Now here is where the story gets more layered. Because the manufacturers did not build this system alone, they had help. And the help came from an unlikely direction. Starting in the early 2000s, the federal government began implementing strict energy and water efficiency standards for home appliances. The Department of Energy mandated less electricity consumption. The EPA created the Energy Star program, rewarding manufacturers for reducing water usage per load. The intentions were not malicious. Conserving water and energy are legitimate goals. I am not here to argue otherwise. But what happened in practice was that the regulations handed the appliance manufacturers the perfect excuse to build a worse product and call it progress. Enter the high-efficiency front loader. You have seen them. Round porthole door on the front, looks like it belongs on a submarine. In the late 1990s and the early 2000s, these machines were marketed aggressively as the future of laundry. Less water, less electricity, European-inspired sophistication. The advertising made your old top loader look like something your grandfather pulled out of a barn. What the advertising did not mention is the mold. A traditional top loader fills the tub completely, agitates the clothes through the water, and drains. The machine opens at the top. Gravity and airflow dry the drum naturally between uses. A front loader has a thick rubber gasket around the door that creates a perfect watertight seal during the wash cycle and a perfect mold incubator every hour after it. The water trapped in the folds of that gasket never fully dries. Within 1 to 2 years, most front loader gaskets are growing black mold colonies visible to the naked eye. Your clothes come out of the machine smelling worse than they went in. Samsung and LG faced multiple class action lawsuits over this exact problem. The manufacturers knew mold grows in dark, wet, warm spaces. A front loader door seal is a dark, wet, warm space. This was not an accidental discovery. It was a consequence that was cheaper to litigate than to engineer away. So they pivoted to high-efficiency top loaders with load sensors instead of agitators. The sensor weighs your laundry and adds what it calculates is sufficient water. In practice, it adds about 4 inches of water to a tub your grandfather would have filled to the brim. They built a machine that cleans less effectively and charged you more for it. Then they put a government sticker on it and shook your hand. The consolidation nobody talks about. Walk into any big box appliance store and look at the washing machine aisle. You will see Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, Genair, and Kenmore standing in a row like competing brands in a healthy marketplace. Different logos, different color schemes, different price points. The illusion of choice. Here is the reality. Maytag is Whirlpool, Amana is Whirlpool, Genair is Whirlpool. Kenmore at Sears, before Sears became a cautionary tale about retail hubris, was largely manufactured by Whirlpool. You are looking at one company wearing 5 different name tags. Whirlpool Corporation is one of the largest appliance manufacturers in the world, and through acquisitions spanning the 1980s through the 2000s, they systematically purchased their competition and absorbed them. This is the same private equity playbook we see in every industry we investigate on this channel. Buy the competitor. Keep the brand name because consumers trust it. Gut the engineering standards because the accountants demand margin improvement. Run the brand's reputation down to 0 over a decade. Move on. Maytag is the most heartbreaking example of this. For most of the 20th century, Maytag was the gold standard of American appliance manufacturing. Their repairman was so reliable that they built an entire advertising campaign around the premise that he had nothing to do. The Maytag repairman, sitting by his phone that never rang, became one of the most recognizable figures in American advertising history. It was a joke, but it was a joke based in reality. The machines rarely broke. Whirlpool purchased Maytag in 2006 for approximately $2 billion. Within a few years, the manufacturing of Maytag products had been consolidated into Whirlpool's existing facilities. The unique engineering standards that made Maytag legendary were eliminated in the name of parts commonality and production efficiency. Today, a Maytag washing machine shares the same platform, the same components, and often the same control board as a Whirlpool machine. The badge on the front is the only meaningful difference. The Maytag repairman is busy now. Oh, very busy. On the other side of the market, Samsung and LG entered the American appliance space in the early 2000s with aggressive pricing and flashy features. They were not trying to out-engineer Maytag. They were trying to outmarket them. Bigger screens, more wash cycles, stainless steel finishes that scratched if you looked at them wrong. They captured enormous market share by appealing to consumers who equated visual sophistication with engineering quality. Those are not the same thing. They have never been the same thing. The result of this consolidation is that genuine competition on durability and repairability has effectively ceased. When one company controls the majority of the market, there is no competitive pressure to build a better product. The only competition left is on price, appearance, and feature count. None of those things correlate with how long the machine will run. The repairman has left the building. There used to be a man in your neighborhood who fixed washing machines. He drove a van with his name on the side. He had been repairing appliances for 25 or 30 years. He knew every model, every common failure point, every trick for getting a stubborn drum bearing out without damaging the tub. He charged a fair price. He stood behind his work. When he fixed your machine, it stayed fixed. That man is largely gone now. Not because he retired without training a replacement, although that happened too. He is gone because the manufacturers made his profession economically non-viable. Parts availability is the weapon they use to kill the repair economy. A manufacturer is under no legal obligation to produce replacement parts for a discontinued model beyond a certain period. In practice, this means that within 5 to 7 years of a model being discontinued, critical components become unavailable or so expensive that sourcing them is impractical. The independent repairman cannot build a business around parts. He cannot reliably obtain. The parts that are available are priced to discourage repair. A control board for a mid-range Samsung washer retails for $300 to $450 through official channels. A door latch assembly that contains perhaps $2 worth of plastic and metal components retails for $60 to $80. The pricing is not based on the cost of materials or manufacturing. It is based on the manufacturer's understanding that if the repair cost approaches the replacement cost, the consumer will choose replacement. They price accordingly. Then there is the software problem, and this is where it gets truly modern in its cynicism. Several manufacturers now include proprietary diagnostic software in their machines that requires a licensed service technician with a manufacturer-approved tablet or computer to access error codes and run diagnostic routines. You cannot buy this software. You cannot download it. An independent repair technician cannot access it without paying significant licensing fees to the manufacturer and completing manufacturer-approved certification. What this means in practice is that when your machine throws an error code and locks up, the only person who can diagnose it is an authorized service technician from the manufacturer's approved network. Authorized technicians charge more. They have longer wait times. They are, not coincidentally, more likely to recommend replacement over repair because replacement generates a referral commission from the retailer in some service arrangements. The right to repair movement has been fighting this battle in state legislatures across the country. Massachusetts, Minnesota, and Colorado have passed legislation requiring manufacturers to provide access to parts and diagnostic information for certain categories of products. The appliance industry has lobbied aggressively against every single one of these bills. They have spent millions of dollars to ensure that your broken washing machine remains their opportunity rather than your fixable problem. They are not spending that money because they are worried about safety. They are spending it because a repairable machine is a machine they only sell you once. The whitelist, what you should actually buy. All right, we have spent the better part of this investigation cataloging the ways the appliance industry has betrayed you. I want to be clear about something before we get to the solution. I am not telling you this to make you feel helpless. I am telling you this because the solution exists. It is just not on the showroom floor at a big box store, and they are counting on you not knowing that. The first name on the whitelist is one we have mentioned before on this channel, and I will keep mentioning it until every person watching this has heard it. Speed Queen, specifically the TC5 ball loader. Speed Queen is a different animal entirely from every other brand in the residential appliance market. They do not primarily build consumer appliances. They build commercial laundromat equipment. The machines you see in coin laundries running 12, 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Those machines. When you buy a Speed Queen for your home, you are buying a version of that commercial machine without the coin slot. The TC5 has a steel transmission with steel gears sitting in an oil bath. It has a mechanical timer, not a touchscreen, not a control board with microprocessors. A mechanical timer, which is the single most reliable timing mechanism ever devised for this application. It fills the tub with water all the way to the top, like a machine is supposed to. It does not have a load sensor arguing with your judgment about how much water your towels need. The bearings are accessible. The parts are available. Speed Queen publishes their service documentation. An independent technician can work on one of these machines without proprietary software and a manufacturer certification. Speed Queen offers a 5-year warranty on parts and labor on the TC5, which tells you everything you need to know about their confidence in the product. Companies that build disposable machines do not offer 5-year warranties. They offer 1-year warranties because that is how long they expect the machine to be problem-free. Yes, it costs more upfront. The TC5 will cost you around $1,200 to $1,500, depending on where you buy it. A cheap Samsung or LG front loader can be had for $600 or $700. But run the math honestly. If the Samsung lasts 5 years and the Speed Queen lasts 25 years, the Samsung has to be replaced 5 times over the same period. 5 machines at $700 each is $3,500. 1 Speed Queen at $1,500. The expensive machine is the cheap one. The cheap machine is the expensive one. This is the fundamental lie of the disposable economy. The second option on the whitelist is the used market, specifically machines built before the corporate consolidation era. If you want a truly bulletproof washing machine and you are willing to spend a Saturday on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, look for a Maytag top loader built before 2006, before the Whirlpool acquisition. The model you want is anything in the Maytag Heritage series with a genuine Maytag transmission, sometimes called the Dependable Care transmission. These machines are identifiable by their all-metal construction, their simple mechanical controls, and the fact that they weigh significantly more than a comparable modern machine. Weight is a proxy for material quality in appliances. If it is heavy, something real is inside it. You can find these machines for $50 to $150 from people who are clearing out a relative's house or upgrading to a shiny new machine they will regret buying. Have a technician look at the transmission and the pump before you commit. If those two components are sound, you may have just bought the last washing machine you will ever need to own. Third on the whitelist. If you are determined to buy new and Speed Queen is out of your budget, apply what I call the dumbest machine on the floor principle. Walk into any appliance store. Find the washing machine with the fewest features. No Wi-Fi, no touchscreen, no steam cycles, no allergen settings, no PDAP compatibility. The one that looks the most boring. The one the salesperson walks past without making eye contact because the commission is not worth his time. Buy that machine. The fewer electronic components a machine contains, the fewer electronic components can fail. This is not a complicated analytical framework. It is just physics and probability. A machine with a mechanical timer and two knobs has two things that can go wrong. A machine with a computerized control board, a door lock solenoid, a load sensor, a steam generator, and Wi-Fi connectivity has 47 things that can go wrong. Buy the machine with two things. Here is where we land on all of this. The death of the durable washing machine is not a story about technology improving faster than consumers can keep up. It is not a story about efficiency regulations with unintended consequences, although that is part of it. It is not even a story about corporate greed as some abstract force of nature. It is a story about a deliberate engineering philosophy that was adopted by an entire industry and optimized over 30 years. The philosophy is simple: build the machine to survive the warranty, design out the ability to repair, make replacement cheaper than maintenance, harvest the revenue from the replacement cycle indefinitely. Every decision we walked through in this investigation, the sealed plastic tub, the embedded circuit board, the proprietary diagnostic software, the discontinued parts, the high-efficiency sensors that argue with your laundry, every single one of these decisions is consistent with that philosophy. None of them make engineering sense in isolation. They only make sense when you understand that the goal of the product is not to wash your clothes for 30 years. The goal of the product is to wash your clothes for 5 years and then require you to come back. Dan Cooper's 1972 Maytag is still running because the people who built it had a different goal. They wanted to build a machine that would run, not because they were altruistic, because their business model was built on reputation and repeat customers who bought the brand because their parents had bought the brand. A Maytag that failed in 5 years would have destroyed Maytag. So they built machines that did not fail in 5 years. That accountability structure no longer exists. Whirlpool does not need to protect the Maytag reputation because they already bought it and extracted the value from it. Samsung does not need you to buy another Samsung washing machine in 20 years because they will have a newer, shinier product with more features and a bigger screen by then, and the marketing department will take care of the rest. The only person in this equation with a genuine interest in your washing machine lasting 30 years is you. And they are counting on you not acting on that interest. They are counting on you walking into the showroom, looking at the curved glass and the stainless steel and the glowing display, and making your decision based on what looks most impressive rather than what is most durable. Stop doing that. Buy the Speed Queen. Buy the old Maytag. Buy the dumbest machine on the floor. Look for steel where plastic now sits. Look for mechanical controls where touchscreens now glow. Look for a company that publishes its service documentation and prices its parts fairly and offers a warranty that lasts longer than your first year of ownership. Because the most expensive washing machine you will ever buy is the one you have to buy 6 times. The corporations want you to be a consumer. They want you dependent on their replacement cycle, their financing options, their extended warranty products that cover nothing when you actually need them. When you buy a machine built to last, you are not just saving money. You are opting out of the system. You are telling them that you understand what they did, you understand why they did it, and you refuse to fund it. Buy the iron. Buy the samaj, the steel. Buy the machine that respects the fact that you work hard for your money. This has been Broken America. I am Robert, and I will see you in the next investigation.